The day I realized I was doing too much for people who did nothing for me, that was the day I finally took my power back. I stopped over-explaining myself to people who already made up their minds about me, people who wanted to misunderstand me just so they could keep playing the victim. I stopped giving out unlimited chances like I was running a loyalty program for ungrateful souls. I stopped making up excuses. That's just how they are. Nah, that's just how they disrespect you and you just keep allowing it. I stopped trying to fix people who were never broken. They just like being the problem. Stop showing up emotionally for people who only show up when they need a favor. You know, the ones that disappear when you need them but always call when life humbles them. I stopped answering every text, every call, pretending I didn't notice how one-sided it was. Some people don't change, they just get more comfortable taking from you. I used to check on people who never even asked how I was doing. I used to keep people close just because we had history. Not realizing history don't mean loyalty. I used to overthink what I said, how I said it, just to avoid hurting feelings that never cared about mine. I used to hold on to people longer than they deserved. My heart was loyal even when it shouldn't have been. That version of me, she's tired. She learned that peace don't come from people pleasing, it comes from protecting your energy. She learned that being solid don't mean being stupid. She learned that love don't gotta hurt and loyalty don't mean self-abandonment. Now, I move different. I don't explain myself no more, I just distance myself. I don't argue, I observe. I don't chase, I attract. I don't beg, I balance. I don't pour from empty cups, I refill mine first. I realized I was doing too much for people who did nothing for me was the day I stopped performing love for people who didn't value it. It was on that day I understood I don't owe anyone access to me just because I'm kind. My heart's no longer a playground for inconsistency, and this goes for any relationship in my life. Now I give where it's mutual. I love where it's safe. And I protect my peace like it's the last thing I own. And that's because it is. Now I'm teaching my kids the same thing. I always tell them, you don't gotta overextend yourself to be loved. You don't owe anybody access just because you care. You don't have to shrink to be accepted, and you don't gotta beg for the same energy you give. I'm teaching them early that kindness is a strength, not a weakness. I want them to know that love should feel peaceful, not painful. I want them to know no is a full sentence, because that cycle ends with me. The day I realized I was doing too much for people who did nothing for me was the day I learned how to love myself louder. And that's exactly what I'm teaching my kids to do too.